Hi everyone, and welcome to this CELPIP reading mock test. In this video, you will have the chance to complete a sample reading mock test that resembles the actual CELPIP reading test. This test includes sample questions for all of the 4 reading tests in the CELPIP exam. Timing is embedded in the video, so you don't need to go back and pause the video. You can see the timer displayed on the screen for each of the 4 parts of the test. At the end of this video, I'll be going over the answers, not just telling you what the correct answers are, but also walking you through the process of finding the answers in the text by following the techniques that I've been teaching you on this channel. I recommend you begin by trying the sample for yourself, record your answers, and then watch the walkthrough to see where you may have gone wrong and what strategies you could have used to get those answers right. My students have been achieving amazing results by following these same techniques. I hope that you can do the same. And if you like this video, consider becoming a member to gain access to the complete catalog of content on this channel. Good luck with your exam and happy learning. Okay, time for us to review the answers to this sample reading test. And we're going to start with part 1, reading correspondence. Okay, so if you remember, the first step is to always very quickly familiarize ourselves with the text. Most notably, we need to know who the sender and the recipient are. In this case, we know that this is an email that's being written by Linda and it's being sent to Emma. Now, we're not going to read the whole thing. We're just going to read the first line of each paragraph to get a general idea of what's going on. Now, on the real test, if you're a fast reader and you can read the entire passage in less than 2 or 3 minutes, then you can do that. But if you feel that you'll end up reading it once and then read the questions and be forced to come back and read it a second or maybe a third time, then you're not playing it smart and you're wasting a lot of time. So instead, do this. I'll start with the first paragraph that says, "I apologize for not getting back to you sooner. It's been a whirlwind of activity around here." Okay, see, I'm not going to read the entire thing. I just want to get an idea. Okay, looks like these two people have not been in touch and that Linda has been very busy. The second paragraph reads, "After the wedding, we took the family on a tour of San Francisco." Okay, looks like she's talking about the activities that are completed. "Sarah is thrilled, but John and I are finding it hard to believe our little girl is going to be a mother." Okay, looks like there's some news in there. Next paragraph reads, "We're planning a baby shower for Sarah and her husband next weekend, and they would love for you, Mike and Lisa, to be there." Okay, so there seems to be a baby shower as well. Okay, so you see, just by reading these first sentences, I am giving myself an idea of what this email is generally about. Now, obviously, I'm going to come back to it and I'm going to read it in more detail and, find the answers to the questions as they appear. But this will provide me with that necessary background information that I need in order to understand the questions and know where to find the answers. All right, we'll start with part 1, question 1. Linda's brother is now, okay, so we need to know where Linda's brother is. Now we're going to see if we can see the word brother in the passage anywhere. And lo and behold, second line, first paragraph, we have Sarah's wedding and my brother's visit from Australia. Okay, so we have Australia in the options, but that's not the answer, is it? Because that's where the brother is from, but the question is asking where the brother is now. If you read the second paragraph, it says, "After the wedding, we took the family on a tour of San Francisco." So probably the brother went there as well. They absolutely loved it. They left yesterday for Los Angeles and they'll fly back to Australia from there in 3 days. Okay, so 3 days later, they're going to fly back to Australia. Where are they right now? They are in Los Angeles. So the correct answer is B, Los Angeles. Question number 2. At the end of the year, Sarah will. Okay, so we want to know what Sarah's plans are for the end of the year. And so the best technique, again, is to use keywords. Now, Sarah is a keyword. We need to know, this is about Sarah after all. So we're going to look for Sarah's name, but we're also going to look for at the end of the year. Okay, so we're going to scan the passage. And if you're good at scanning, then you don't necessarily need to read everything very closely, but rather you're just going to move your eyes very, very quickly over the passage and try to find something that means or is equivalent to, like paraphrased form of the phrase at the end of the year. And if you do this well, you will realize that you can find this in the second paragraph, where it says, Sarah is over the moon about becoming a mom. Sarah announced that she and her new husband are expecting a baby. She's due at the end of the year. So you can see we have at the end of the year. This is an easy question because it's not been paraphrased and we have the exact same phrasing repeated. Now on the real test, you got to be really careful. When you see something that's not paraphrased, you should be very wary and you shouldn't choose it very quickly, because that's the way that the exam developers, the people who've designed the exam, they try to trick you. So be very careful about this type of scenario. Moving on to question number 3. Sarah is feeling. So again, the keyword is Sarah, but we want to know how she is feeling. So we want to find any word in the passage that describes a feeling, an emotion, and more specifically describes how Sarah is feeling. In this particular case, if you look at paragraph 2, we have a sentence that says, the penultimate sentence that says, Sarah is a bit nervous about balancing work and motherhood, right? So how is she feeling? She's feeling nervous. Now let's look at the options. We have apprehensive, and you need to know what apprehensive means. It means nervous, and you also need to know that it is a synonym for the word nervous, right? So nervous, apprehensive, they're synonyms, and we know that the examiners like to check whether or not we know the synonyms and words that have the same meaning. Sad about staying in San Francisco? Not really. Indifferent about her pregnancy? No, not really. And uncertain about her marriage, which is also not mentioned anywhere. So the correct answer is item A. Question number 4. Sarah's husband's employers are... Okay, so Sarah's husband has an employer, and we want to know what the passage has to say about her husband's employers. And it's very important that you find this part and try to see what the passage has to say about it before you read the options. This is something I've been telling you again and again. Don't be fooled by previewing the items, the options, because they will try to make these options sound very logical, and they will try to make it so that you feel you have either seen it somewhere or you feel that it matches what you logically think would make sense. So that is a very big mistake. So to not fall into that trap, what you should do is first find the answer for yourself and then try to see which of the options best matches it. So again, in the second paragraph, we have the part that is talking about Sarah's husband and how he got a promotion. And this is from the 4th line in the second paragraph, where it says, her husband just got a promotion at his company, specializing in renewable energy projects. See, specializing in renewable energy projects is a modifier, and it's providing us with information regarding the company. So it's the company that specializes in renewable energy projects. Let's see if we have something matching this in the options. Option A, not supportive of his career. B, experts in renewable energy projects. C, located in Australia. And D, inexperienced with family support. So as you can see, we located where the answer can be found using the keywords, and we found the best option, which is option B, experts in renewable energy projects. Okay, part 2. In part 2, what we're supposed to do is to complete this response by filling in the blanks. And Again, if you remember my advice from previous videos on this channel, the best approach is to first read the response entirely by ignoring the blanks just to get an idea of what this response is generally saying and what the writer's attitude is in this response. Let's check it out. It reads, "Hi Linda, this is such exciting news. We wouldn't miss. We'll leave at Saturday morning. We'll be there by early afternoon. That way, if you need any help setting up you'll have some extra hands. Lisa is great with decorations. Also, we want to give Sarah and her husband a baby shower gift. Initially, we thought about a dining set for their San Francisco apartment, but I guess that. Do you have any suggestions? Does she have anything she needs? Does she have everything she needs for the blank? Maybe some essentials like a crib or a car seat. Let me know and see you on Saturday." Okay, so we know what the attitude is. The attitude is positive. It seems like that Emma will be joining the baby shower, right? Now, let's see how we can complete these blanks by keeping that information intact. This is such exciting news. We wouldn't miss, the baby shower, the wedding, the trip, the flight. Now, you need to know at this point that this email is inviting the recipient to a baby shower. And so it's not the wedding, it's not the trip. The wedding was already held. The trip, they're currently in the trip. The flight, no, the answer is the baby shower. We'll leave blank, right? Saturday morning. All right, so what will they be leaving, or where will they be leaving on Saturday morning? Now, remember where their friends are? Where do their friends live? If you read the first paragraph, last sentence, it says, "I wish you and your family had been there, but I understand it's quite a trip from Boston." And so they are currently located in item C, Boston. So that's the answer to question number 8. We'll be there early in the afternoon. That way, if you need any help setting up the blank. Now, what are they setting up? A trip, a party, a move, a shower. Now, you might say it's a baby shower, and so shower again. But no, a baby shower is a kind of party. So yes, informally, a baby shower might be referred to as a shower, but in writing, one would refer to it as just a party. Okay, next item, which is item number 10. So we want to give Sarah and her husband a baby shower gift. Initially, we thought about a dining set for their San Francisco apartment, but I guess that, so initially, when they didn't know there was a baby, they were going to get them a dining set, right? But instead, so what's number 10? She can't use that now. It's too big for the apartment. It's too expensive for us. She would prefer something else. I think item D, right? Because they're having a baby, then she would prefer something else. Maybe some essentials like a crib or a car seat. Do you have any suggestions? Does she have everything she needs for the number 11? What is arriving? The baby, right? So the baby, maybe some essentials like a crib or a car seat. So there you go. Okay, time for us to review the answers for this second part of the CELPIP reading test. And this part is called reading to apply a diagram. The first step is to always look at the options that have been given to us and to see what's being compared and what are the criteria. In this case, we can see there are 4 categories. These include the full-time day shift, full-time night shift, part-time day shift, and part-time night shift. Now, what's being compared across these 4 categories? Well, we can see the wage, how much money one would make by working during these shifts, how many vacation days there are, whether there is parking availability, and what are the public transport options that are made available. As you can see, I now have a clear understanding of what the 4 categories are and what criteria are being compared. This will help me better understand the questions and to find my answers more accurately. Now, in this part of the test, we always have an email response. And as the instructions say, we're supposed to read this email message about the diagram and complete the email by filling in the blanks. It's always a good idea to see what's going on in general. Provide yourself with some contextual information first. And you can do this by reading the subject, the to, and the from line. In this case, we have the subject, upcoming work cycle shift preferences. Okay, it looks like they're going to be discussing work shifts. And we have the email being sent to John, and it's being sent by Alice. So Alice and John are the 2 people involved in this scenario. And as you can see here, the emails come from company.com. That's the domain. So that can also help us maybe answer some of the questions. All right, so we now have familiarized ourselves with the context, and we're going to start reading the email. It says, "Hi John, I hope you're doing well. I've been looking into the different shift options for the upcoming work cycle. We need to decide soon so that we can submit our preferences to HR. Here are the details I found. The full-time day shift offers the highest hourly wage and more vacation days, but parking might be." Okay, so again, if you remember, at each point, we need to know which of the options is being discussed. In this particular case, the speaker begins with the full-time day shift option, and it's acknowledged that the pay is higher and there are more vacation days, but parking might be. Now, what does the chart have to say about parking? It says, as you can see here, limited parking availability during peak hours. Okay, and especially if you can see after item number 1, it says especially during busier times of the day, which means during peak hours, right? So it might be, now here, the adjective that's used is limited. Do we have something that means limited among the options? So I have most accessible, peak, scarce, and least effective. So when we say that the parking is limited, it means there aren't many options, right? And a good synonym for this is scarce. So the correct answer to item number 1 is C, scarce. Public transport is quite convenient for this shift. The full-time night shift pays less than the day shift, but includes a night shift allowance and has blank parking. Okay, so which of the items are we looking at right now? Full-time night shift. So we're going to focus on that. It pays less than the day shift. That's true. The day shift pays $30. This pays $27 plus a $5 night shift allowance. So the base pay is being compared, right? But includes a night shift allowance, that's been mentioned, that's the $5, and has blank parking availability. Now, in this case, we have no transport, right? So that's for transportation, but then we have ample parking availability. So here, the question is, what does the word ample mean? And ample means a lot, plenty, right? So let's see which of the options matches this meaning. We have sufficient. Yeah, that sounds right. Limited. No, that's the opposite. Paid. No, that's not something that's mentioned here. And convenient. And so the correct answer to number 2 is A, sufficient, which means ample. Moving on. For part-time options, the part-time day shift has a lower hourly wage compared to full-time, but offers free parking during work hours and good public transport options. On the other hand, the part-time night shift provides the same hourly wage as the part-time day shift along with a night shift allowance. Parking is free at night, but buses and trains are. Okay, so what are we looking at? We're looking at the third item, which is part-time day shift. And it says that parking is free, which we can also see here, free parking. But when it comes to buses and trains, which, mean public transportation, what is the situation? It's free at night, so part-time night shift, free parking at night, but limited public transport options, right? So limited public transportation options. So the buses and trains are limited. Let's see which one matches this. Dysfunctional? No, dysfunctional doesn't mean limited. Plenty, that means there's a lot, but that's the opposite, right? Ample, we just found out that ample means plenty, right? Unavailable, right? So limited, they're unavailable. It's not as available as the other options. So you don't have access to all means of public transportation during the nighttime. Okay, so right, that is the answer to question number 3. Personally, I think the full-time day shift would be the best because of the higher. Now, what's higher in the full-time day shift? That was already mentioned once, the base pay, right? So the base pay is higher, and let's see if we can find this among the options. Stress? No. Wage? Yes, that means money, right? And work hours? Not necessarily, no. The work hours, can be compared, and that's not the case. And finally, demand. No, demand is not the answer either. So the answer to question number 4 is wage. Now, we still have 3 more questions to answer, and these are, again, based on the email. But these questions often, address more global aspects of understanding. So rather than refer to a specific part of the text, they try to see, what they're trying to see is whether you understand, what this email is generally for, what the relationship is between the sender and the recipient, what the attitude is. These are the kinds of questions that you often see in the second part. Number 5, in this case, says Alice and John are A, neighbors, B, siblings, C, friends, and D, colleagues. Now, remember how when we were reading the sender and recipient and subject line, we saw that it says at company.com. So they both have the same domain, and it's a company domain. So that's a clue. And then if you read the opening, it also says, I hope you're doing well. I've been looking into the different shift options for the upcoming work cycle. See, they're discussing shift options together, right? And so the best answer is colleagues. Number 6, the main purpose of this email is to. Now, why are they having this discussion? Again, this is something that you can find in the opening paragraph where it says, we need to decide soon so that we can submit our preferences to HR. So they need to announce their availabilities and the shifts that they would like to cover in the upcoming work cycle. And so now we can look at the options. Discuss a business meeting? No. Plan a vacation? No. Arrange an upcoming work schedule. That sounds right to me. And finally, item D, plan a social event. That doesn't sound right. The correct answer is item C. arrange an upcoming work schedule. Again, this should be very clear from the opening paragraph. Number 7, Alice seems, now we have a bunch of adjectives: sympathetic, cooperative, unenthusiastic, and indifferent. And again, for these types of questions, you're going to have to read between the lines. So it's not a particular sentence that demonstrates the attitude, but rather you need to kind of find evidence across the passage. For me, the strongest evidence to find an answer to this question is what we can find towards the end, where Alice says, but the parking situation might pose a problem. What do you think? Let's decide soon. So you see, she's not deciding on their behalf. She's opening a discussion, and she's encouraging John to express their own preferences, right? And what best describes this attitude? I would say item B, cooperative, is the best option for this question. And if you like this video, consider becoming a member to gain access to the complete catalog of content on this channel. Good luck with your exam and happy learning.